Hey everyone, it is Thursday, July 21st. The time is 3:37 p.m. and the temperature right now is around 29 degrees Celsius. And I'm here at the intersection of Broadview Avenue and Dundas Street East. And there's the look north of Broadview into East Chinatown. And there's a southbound 504 King streetcar. And that 505 streetcar will be turning north and heading up to Broadview Station. And for this one, I'll be walking east along Dundas Street East here. And this is the Riverdale neighborhood. And once I get east of the rail corridor, I'll be in Leslieville. And then at Carlaw Avenue, I'm going to head south and I think take that all the way down to Lakeshore Boulevard. And apparently, south of Queen Street, there's an all-day gathering of the Hells Angels biker group there. Group, club, I'm not really sure what their official title is. But that's been the source of some controversy today. And there's a number of public schools on the right here. I think that is the Seed Alternative School, the Queen Alexandra Middle School, and there's another one called Dundas Junior Public School in there. So the streetcar doesn't go east of Broadview, but there are bike lanes on Dundas here, and these have been here for as long as I can remember. I would say dating back to at least 2005 or 2006, I remember riding my bike along them at that time. All right, so this here on the right is the Dundas Street Public School. And I had heard about the Hells Angels gathering yesterday. And I saw it on the news today, and apparently it's what they're calling an unauthorized gathering. But the police have closed off Carlaw south of Queen or rather south of Eastern Avenue, between Eastern Avenue and Lakeshore. And they even relocated some of the local residents' cars that were parked on the street. This is Bolton Avenue. And at some point in the 40s and maybe 50s, Dundas was extended east of Bolton. It only used to go as far as here. And it was just really a series of laneways east of here. And I think that was done to accommodate the rise of the automobile. And here is Degrassi Street. And this is famous for being the setting of the Kids of Degrassi Street TV show. Although it looks like the road is closed just north of here. There's a few heavy commercial vehicles up there. I've done a walk up Degrassi in previous videos. And this is West Avenue and Wardle Street to the south. And I guess I want to be on the right side of this split here. And these are the rail tracks. So I'll be leaving Riverdale and entering Leslieville. And just to the south of here, along those rail tracks at Queen, will be a future Ontario line station. And just to the north of here, at Carlaw and Gerrard, there'll be another stop. And that subway project will be aligned with these rail tracks on the east side of town. There goes a GO train. And this coming up is Logan Avenue. And then the next major street to the east of here will be Carlaw. And you'll find a lot of these in this area. Heritage Toronto plaques. So this was an old factory from 1907, the Woods Manufacturing Company. And this area is an old manufacturing hub right around Dundas and Carlaw, and that's where I'm heading. It was given status as Toronto's first heritage plaque district. So there's a lot of old factories in the area, many of which have been converted into lofts, and a few which unfortunately are no longer there, like the Colgate Palmolive factory. And I think it's only a matter of time before we see this lot with the parking lot on it redeveloped. And there's a little parquet coming up. That went in about 3 or 4 years ago. It's got this large sculpture as its centerpiece. We'll take a quick look at that. Don't be a schmo. Call El Cheapo. Moving companies have been under fire for some of their shady practices lately. And I think this thing was laser cut. And just on the north side here is the Rock Oasis. That is an indoor climbing gym. And they used to be located down near Batherston Front, if I'm not mistaken. That was the first time I ever went rock climbing. There's a neat cafe. And to look north, I think I'm going to come back at some point, maybe in the fall, and do a detailed walk along Carlaw. I can highlight each of these interesting buildings and talk more about its history. And the sun has been playing peekaboo today. Half the time it's hiding behind the clouds. It feels kind of nice, almost cool, and then there's times like now where it's just out in full force. So there's a lot of new condos and lofts in this area, and older buildings that have been converted are still used for commercial purposes. And it's pretty common to see heritage plaques on these buildings, hence the moniker, the Heritage Plaque District. This is the old Crown and Cork Seal Company, and that was built in 1929. Built by the company that invented the bottle cap. During World War II, a lot of these factories were repurposed to provide supplies for the war. There's perhaps the most well-known building in the area, the Wrigley Lofts. There's two buildings at north and south. One was built in 1916 and the other, I think, was 1919. And they also provided supplies for the war. There is the old garment factory. Maybe I'll cross over. And there's no heritage plaque in front of this one. I think there was even an old toy company called the Old Reliable Toy Company that switched to making plastic bullet tips to support the war efforts. And that street there is Colgate. And there used to be a big old factory there. It's part of the Colgate Palmolive Company. And here on the left, this is the Rolf Clark Stone Limited building. That was built in 1913, and that was the headquarters and main factory of one of the largest graphic art design companies in Canada. There's where the old Colgate Palmolive building used to be. Now it's a relatively generic looking condo. And that used to be someone's bicycle. I wonder if that person took their seat off or if someone removed it for them. And this is Queen Street East coming up. I think I'm going to cross back over to the west side and stay in the shade a little bit more. There goes the 501 Queen streetcar. That'll be heading to the Neville Park Loop. So when most people think of Leslieville, they often think of the commercial stretch along Queen Street here. So it's entirely possible the Hells Angels have cleared out by now. They rolled in around noon. And the police said the street was going to be closed off till 7. And they described it as an all-day event on the street. But it looks like it might be clear just looking south of here. There's the Morse Street Junior Public School. There's our copter overhead. So traditionally, before Leslieville started to gentrify, this was a mostly blue-collar neighborhood. A lot of the people in this neighborhood would have lived in this or worked at the surrounding factories. I suppose some of them might have lived there too. And this is Eastern Avenue coming up. Along this stretch of Eastern is an area known as the Studio District. There's the 72 Pate bus. And this is Eastern Avenue coming up. She just said it's a very different scene than it was a few hours ago. There's a local institution, Gale's Snack Bar. And that has been there for a very long time. Maybe I'll be on the news walking by. And that was a store once owned by a guy named Gale. And it eventually changed hands and has since grown into a very reasonably priced diner. So this is the area where the Hells Angels took over earlier today. And they even have a retail storefront just up here on the right.
Come down here.
And this will be a lot of their bikes. The L Hondas, no Honda Goldwing riders here. And that's their retail shop. So I think this is, I'll wait till this truck goes by, the only shop of its kind.
Oh yeah. The rents? I know, see you had
So I guess the time to be here would have been a few hours ago. Apparently there were about 800 to 1,000 members hanging out in the street. But it looks like the police have cleared out. But you can see there's no cars parked on the street because they had towed them all away and moved them to neighboring streets. Emergency. No parking on this side of the street. Chief of Police. That doesn't really look all that official to me. there's a place called Food Dudes. And a building occupied by Habitat for Humanity. Wouldn't it be more effective if they didn't have the sign there? I think that's a dead rat. There's more CTV news, guys. And this is Lakeshore Boulevard East, and you can see they've closed the multi-use trail just west of here due to redevelopment. And there's, I'm not sure, I can't really tell if there's a sidewalk on the south side. I'm not a fan of walking on multi-use trails. I know they're intended for everybody. I'm kind of the belief that they should be for cyclists, and there should be a separate footpath alongside them. And this is Moore Street. Dark Tools Architectural Lighting Distributor. It's a neat mural they have. And on the right is a Purelator. And I guess you could say that's where packages go to get lost and perhaps someday be delivered, but maybe not. I don't know if I've ever recorded at Moore. Maybe I'll just go north here, back up to Eastern Avenue, and I'll figure out what to do next. Kind of a nice, quiet, shaded residential street. Extra mile parking. This would be a very pleasant street to live, especially on a day like this. wonder if we'll see any old school workers' cottage style homes here. Morse Street Playground. I forgot to mention earlier, but this area is to the east of downtown, as it's east of the Don River. And a lot of these homes have to be well over 100 years old. Here we are at Eastern Avenue. Complete with its bike lane. And you know what? I've got my gear with me. I think I'm gonna fire up a live stream. So that'll be that for this one. I hope you enjoyed this one, starting at Broadview and Dundas, walking east along Dundas over to Carlaw, then south all the way down Carlaw to Lakeshore Boulevard East, and then west over to Morse Street here, then north up to Morse and Eastern Avenue. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below, and if you wish to support the channel, there are links to Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description, and I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there's also a super thanks button appearing below these videos. All right, thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.